Hey Gears, Coach Fitz here. So we were talking about making image targets for our Unity game, and we were having trouble making them work, and I think we found a workaround, which was a mistake in which database we were calling in the Vuforia image target object. Um, Even though that was corrected, we had a conversation about how some of our patterns we didn't think were appropriate for the image recognition. So we made the suggestion that fractals might work better. So a fractal is a pattern that is the same when you make it larger and when you make it smaller. In this case, this is a fractal image that is on Geometer's sketchpad. And if you watch here, I'm playing Shift and plus, and each time that tree branches out in the exact same way. And it creates these really cool patterns that occur all over nature. This is just a simple example of a fractal. So now I'm reducing the development, now I'm increasing the development. And there's a limit to how much we can do this on Geometer Sketchpad, partly because of memory issues. But so let's talk about how we would go ahead and make a sketch like this. So let's go into the Sketchpad. And I'm going to close this. I'm going to file New Sketch. And so this is called a tree style fractal. It's a branching pattern. And we could make this really virtually any way we wanted. So I'm going to start off with a circle, and I'm going to measure an angle. And I know Sketchpad is pretty new to a lot of you guys, but it's a superb tool that I hope you guys can make more use of. So I'm going to measure that angle, and then I'm going to mark that angle. I'm going to save it, and I can adjust that angle any way I want. And then I'm going to create a line segment. I'm going to put a point on it, and I'm going to measure the distance between these 2 points. And I'm going to put that right here, and I'm going to measure the distance of the whole line. And then I'm going to calculate the ratio. This divided by that. And I could change that ratio any way I want it to be. And not surprisingly, I'm going to mark that as a scale factor. So far, so good. I'm going to take a line. I'm going to put it right there on my drawing. And so one of the things that you'll talk about, and if you look at, there are loads of great tutorials on the internet about Geometer Sketchpad and doing fractals. Here's one that I liked. Here's another one that I liked. And one of the things that I liked about this one is it talks about the initiator and the generator. So really what we're going to do in Sketchpad is map one image to the next image and then iterate it or repeat it. So in this case, I'm going to mark this point here as my center. Go to Transform, Mark Center. And then I am going to select that point there, and I'm going to transform it, or translate it, rather. Whoops, that was not true. I'm going to dilate it, which is like a transformation. It's changing the size of it. And so I'm going to use it by the scale factor, and that's perfect. It's right there. Now the second step is going to be to rotate it. I'm going to do it by my marked angle, and that's great. So now at this point, what I want to do is I'm going to select these 2 points, and I'm going to go to iterate. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it this point here is going to become this point. And this point here is going to become that point. And you can see it's generating this pattern where it's kind of spiraling inward. And in fact, if I hit the Shift plus, it'll go again and again. It's teeny, teeny, tiny. So you can't really see it well. So I'm going to just cancel that. And instead of curling in on itself, which is what it does here, I'm going to have it curl outward. And the way I do that is by changing the angle. And right there, and now if I repeat that process, select those 2 points, go to iterate, and then say, okay, this point here, point A, is going to go to here. And this point here is going to go to there. And we see that it's not doing quite what we thought it should. So let's cancel that. Something else got selected that we didn't want. We just want those 2 points. So now we're iterating those 2 points. That's better. So this point here, which you can see is highlighted, goes to here. And the other point goes to here. And we can see that it's starting to curl a little bit back. But it's going to do that as the pattern runs. So that was pretty good. So now what we're going to do is take this point, because this point here, and I'm going to select that, that's still our center. And what I want to do is I am going to make an angle over here, which is going to be a new calculation. -1 times my marked angle, which is right here. I'm going to click OK. And then I'm going to mark that angle. So now, again, I'm going to select this point in that segment. I'm going to go to Transform Rotate by the marked angle, and I'm going to click OK. And so now when I iterate, I'm going to make a more complicated map. So I'm going to go to Iterate. And so I want to go to my structure. Oh, go to my, here's my structure. All right, let's do the first part then. H goes to here, G goes to there, and I want to add a new map. And I'm going to have H go to here, G go to there. And now we can see that it's mapping out a different fractal pattern. And we can see that it's growing, but it's pretty small. And so I can cancel that, and it's because of this ratio. If I wanted to make that spread out a little bit more or a little bit less, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see how that goes. So again, I'm going to select these 2 points. These 2 points right there. I'm going to go to Iterate. I'm going to map this point here, and that point's going to go there. And then I'm going to increase my map structure, and I'm going to go from here to here, and then from there to there. And now if I do Shift plus, we can see we're getting this really interesting, complicated structure. I can just back it out by hitting my negative sign. And we can see here that as we look at this, this isn't a pattern like we'd expect to see in a tree. It looks almost more like a pattern we would expect to see from a from like crystal growth. So here we're going to do one final one, and then I'll call this video over for the day. I'm going to select these 2 points to be my base of my model, and this version is going to look much more like a tree. I'm going to add another layer to my map. And then if we look here, we can see that's looking better, more like a tree. And I can back that out. And the bigger we make that, the tighter rather we make that angle, the more it's going to end up looking like what we expect from a tree. In fact, this would be a selected an extra point there. This alone has been the type of thing that some kids have gone on to do for science fair projects, and it's been great. You can see here now it's branching out like a tree, and you can figure out, oh my goodness, it has all to do with that angle and the ratio of the branches, and it turns out that that is a hot source of research for all kinds of people interested in how nature works. So there's something that looks an awful lot like a tree. We could branch it out and see that, wow, that does look an awful lot like a tree. So I hope this video helps. We might want to use an image target like this to explore fractals a little bit more. Even if we decide not to use it for this project, it's always cool to learn a little bit more about fractals because we never know when we might need it.